Congratulations on being selected to serve on a grand jury. I am Chief Justice Sharon Kennedy of the Supreme Court of Ohio. I want to thank you for the service that you are about to provide on behalf of your fellow citizens. I realize this is a disruption to your regular routine. However, people who have served before you have found the experience to be an educational and rewarding civic responsibility. By answering the call to service, you are now part of a tradition of direct citizen involvement in the criminal justice system. You and the people who have been called to serve with you as grand jurors will determine, on behalf of your community, whether there is enough evidence to bring criminal charges against a person. And if there is not, you will be the barrier against unjust criminal prosecution. This video is a quick introduction into the basic information about serving on a grand jury.
The grand jury plays an important and special part in American society. The history of the grand jury stretches back before America was a country, almost 900 years ago. As a grand jury member, you are playing a part in a historic legal tradition that started with King Henry II in England in the year 1166. This tradition was maintained for centuries and journeyed over the ocean to the earliest of our American colonies. A grand jury is used to bring felony charges in Ohio. Felonies are serious crimes ranging from murder, rape, other sexual assaults, and kidnapping, to drug offenses, robbery, larceny, other financial crimes, arson, and many more. It is the role of a grand jury to simply determine if there is enough evidence to formally initiate charges against the accused. You are not deciding guilt or innocence. The idea of the grand jury is to both help the state proceed with a fair accusation of a person while at the same time protecting a person from being charged when there is insufficient evidence to do so justly. There are going to be a number of words that are used that you may or may not be familiar with. Here are some quick definitions. Indict means to charge. As a grand jurist, it is your job to determine if there is enough evidence to charge or indict a person. True bill. This is a legal term which is used when a grand jury decides there is enough evidence to indict. If your grand jury votes in favor of the indictment, you will be delivering a true bill to the court to proceed. No true bill. This is the opposite of a true bill. If you do not feel there is enough evidence to proceed to trial, you will return a no true bill to the court. Defendant. This is the person accused of a felony. Prosecutor. This is the person who is proposing possible charges against a suspect. The prosecutor represents the state of Ohio. The prosecutor will run the grand jury. Independence. The grand jury members work independently and eventually vote as a team. A grand jury is an independent body. It is not a part of the court, although it is convened by the court. Although the prosecutor runs the proceedings, it is the job of the grand jury to determine the facts. The grand jury is not to serve as a rubber stamp to what it might believe the prosecutor wants. A court is the ultimate decision-making body. The grand jury is an accusatory body. It does not determine guilt or innocence. It is extremely rare for the suspect to appear before a grand jury or to be provided a chance to present evidence. A grand jury's duty is simply to determine if there is sufficient evidence to make a person face criminal charges. Again, you are not deciding guilt or innocence. The grand jury is a part of the common pleas court system in Ohio. In Ohio, it is composed of 9 people and up to 5 alternates. All reside in the county and were randomly selected to serve. Just like trial or petite, jurors are selected. All felony cases in Ohio use a grand jury. Every criminal case begins with the prosecutor reviewing the evidence to determine whether charges should be brought against the defendant, the accused, and if so, what those charges should be. If the prosecutor chooses to bring felony charges against the defendant, then he or she must then present the case to the grand jury in order to move forward with the case. Each grand jury member takes an oath that includes a vow of secrecy to keep secret all proceedings of the grand jury. You are also not allowed to research any cases by reading or watching the news or looking it up on the internet. Doing this may interfere with your unbiased opinion, which is absolutely needed when you vote on the outcome of a hearing. Your vow of secrecy also is important because it encourages witnesses to testify who otherwise might be unwilling. Your vow of secrecy may keep a suspect from fleeing in an attempt to avoid criminal charges, and your secrecy protects an unindicted person's reputation. All proceedings in the grand jury are conducted in private, not in a courtroom or with a judge. Members of the public cannot attend unless they have been called to be a witness. A foreperson will be selected by the judge. Unlike a trial jury, in a grand jury, the foreperson and any members of the grand jury may ask proper questions of any witness. After the prosecutor has presented each witness and explained the law to the grand jury, everyone except the 9 grand jury members must leave the grand jury room. The grand jury foreperson then leads a discussion and conducts a vote on whether to charge the accused. No vote is taken until each member has had the opportunity to be heard. The votes of 7 of the 9 grand jurors are required to indict. When a grand jury votes to charge the accused by finding a true bill with the required 7 of 9 votes, it's also known as an indictment. An indictment is merely a charge. The charges must then be proven at trial beyond a reasonable doubt before someone can be convicted. If there are fewer than the 7 votes needed for an indictment, the result is called a no true bill, and the case is dropped. The prosecutor can bring back the case to another grand jury if there is new evidence. The grand jury operates as a sword, authorizing the government's prosecution of those properly accused of committing crimes. The grand jury also is a shield, protecting citizens from facing charges not supported by sufficient evidence. Grand jury service is an important and vital civic duty.
As you perform this important civic duty, please devote your full attention and energy to the information brought before you. Your fellow citizens are counting on your fair and impartial application of the law, and the justice system in Ohio is stronger for your involvement. Thank you for your service.